we're going to be looking at a first turn for Vast, the Crystal Caverns. Here we have the beginnings of our cave set up. We have our hero, the knight. She's just descended the ladder and is about to begin her adventure. And the knight player always starts the game first. So here we have the knight's board. The knight is trying to gain grit and basically level up, similar to an RPG character, in order to kill the dragon. So we start off with 2 cubes on our grit track. Our grit starts at 0, and we're going to be able to take some actions. Here we have our different stats. We have movement. We start with a base movement of 1. We can increase it. We start with a base perception or encounter of 1 and strength of 1. And we have 7 health. So the goblins are trying to kill the knight, so we have to be careful of our health and make sure that it doesn't drop down to 0, because obviously the game will end at that point and the goblin player will win. So on the knight's turn, she gets to assign these cubes and take various actions. A lot of them will involve moving, interacting with the tiles on the board, and using some of these special abilities to get around the map. In particular, in attacking the dragon, she can use her bomb, which allows her to attack the dragon when he's underground. She also has these 3 side quests. These allow her to basically gain grit in various amounts. She can gain 3 grit for completing this by revealing a bunch of cave tiles, 4 grit for this one and 4 grit for this one. She'll always have 3 available, and she'll draw back up as soon as she accomplishes one of them. Alright, so some of the different ways that the knight can gain grit: she can reveal a tile, smash a crystal, decline a treasure, etc. So let's get going with the knight. There are no other players currently on the board, but that's going to be changing soon. So the knight can go ahead and explore. So she can use 1 movement and 1 encounter to reveal this tile. Flip that over. It's a treasure. So the cave player will take 1 of their treasures out of their supply of 10, and it pops out on the board. The cave then also, from their hand of 3, the cave always has a hand of 3 tiles, will choose tiles basically to fill in around the gaps, because there's no walls here. These are all exposed ends, and they can't remain that way. So let's see. The cave will choose this one here, draw back up to 3, then choose this, draw back up, oops, and choose this one here. Alright, so now that's filled in. So the knight finishes the encounter as part of that single encounter for the turn. The knight will go ahead and finish their turn. So she gains this treasure, and what that means is that the knight can either accept the treasure that the cave offers or reject it for 5 grit. So coming over to the cave player, the cave draws 2 treasure cards. So we have this cursed amulet and these heroic boots. So the cave gets to choose, okay, which one do we want to present the knight with? And let's say the cave chooses the boots. So this card gets discarded. Alright, okay. As the knight player, we now get to decide, do we want to keep the heroic boots, which give us +3 movement for an action cube, or do we want to decline that treasure and get 5 grit? And you can see 5 grit would allow us to move up that track and gain another action cube. So it's kind of tempting either way, but we can see that one of our quest cards is to move 7 or more tiles during 1 turn, and the swift or heroic boots would definitely help us with that. So I think we're going to go ahead and hang on to this card. Alright, so that was basically spending our base movement and our base encounter. So we still have these 2 cubes. Alright, so what else do we want to do as the knight? I think we should assign this increases our movement. We can move up to 2 more spaces and do 1 more encounter by placing a cube there. All right, so we could go kind of back the way we had come, or we could really explore any of the tiles here because of our 2 movement. So yeah, let's say we go 1, 2, and then reveal this tile. Ooh, it's an ambush. So what happens with an ambush is that it basically allows a goblin tribe that is off the map to attack. So currently, all the goblin tribes are off the map. These ones, they all have a strength of 0 because they don't have, well, these do, they don't have any population. The Fangs tribe, however, does start with a strength of 1. But the goblins can only attack the knight if they have a strength that's greater than the knight. So right now, the knight starts with a base strength of 1, and the goblins, this goblin only has a base strength of 1, so he's not going to be able to ambush the knight. But in a future turn, that becomes a big risk. And the knight basically has to be prepared to respond to those kinds of threats. So a way that they can do that is if they had extra cubes. Right now we use both of ours, but they can actually assign additional cubes to their strength to prevent a goblin attack. All right, so nothing happens in this case. The knight's kind of getting away with that. And you can see a tile opens up. So the cave player is going to look at his hand and choose a tile to put out there and extend the cave. Draw back up to 3 once again. All right, so that is going to be the end of the knight's first turn. They've used all their action cubes, and just as a reminder, you gain grit for revealing tiles. We revealed 2 tiles that turn, so we get to move up our grit 1, 2. All right, and that's about it for the knight. So these 2 cubes will come off, and they can be reassigned next turn. All right, now we have the goblin's turn. So this is the goblin turn structure. They first start by choosing a war card. Right now, they only draw 1 war card because their rage is only at 1. But if it was at 2 or 3, they would be able to draw more, giving them more options. Because the war cards, they determine a lot what the goblin player can and cannot do on their turn. So they're pretty important. So here we go. So Desolation, it shows that the Fangs gain 1 population, the Bone tribe gains 2, and the Eye tribe also gains 2 population. In addition, we get to draw 1 monster card and 1 secrets card. So this is pretty decent starting one. So we can go ahead, gain 1 population here. Go ahead and stack that up. We gain 2 population for the Bones tribe. And then we also gain 2 population for the Eye tribe. And the population is equal to the goblin's strength. So right now he's at strength 2, 1 plus his strength disc, and then these guys are each at strength 2 as well. So each goblin, they have special abilities. The Fangs tribe, like I just showed you, has a red token indicating +1 strength. They also have different special actions that they can use when they're out on the board. Right now they are hidden because they're on our player board, but once they are revealed and they're out on the main board, then they can take their special actions. So we did the monster card. That's the first, or the war card. That was the first action. And then the second thing we do, we populated the tribes, which we just did. We check for overpopulation. Overpopulation happens when any of the tribes has 4 or more population. Right now, that's not a concern. But what happens is, if that happens, all the overpopulated tribes have to be reduced down to 4, and then they scatter, which means, or we scatter a revealed tribe. When they scatter, the population goes down by 2, and the tribe returns to our board. The monster card, if any, goes away. So it's pretty bad. It's a tricky push and pull where the goblin player needs to manage the population of their various tribes. All right, so the next thing we do, we assign monsters. So remember, we were able to draw 1 monster card. So we'll draw a monster. And it's the Flame Giant, so this tribe gets +1 strength. I kind of like just the idea of beefing up the Fangs tribe. So we get +1 strength, and we can indicate that by adding 1 more strength disc. So now he's at a strength of 3, but only a population of 1, which is pretty sweet. And furthermore, we can gain 1 secret card. The secret cards give us different little cool abilities. So this is poison. When a tribe uses the attack action against the knight also has to place a hero cube on the entrance. Basically, this is a way of stalling the knight and kind of just temporarily weakening her. So this is something we can hang on to and play on a later round. Okay, what's next? So next, each tribe can take 1 action. One of these various actions: moving, attacking, exploring, etc. The only way we can take our special actions is if we're out on the board. And so we can't directly attack the knight unless we're on the board. The one other way is if the knight reveals an ambush token, we can attack with one of these tribes. Otherwise, these tribes have to be placed out on the board. So, for instance, the Eye tribe, I'm going to reveal him on one of the dark tiles with the eye icon. So there or there. We'll put him out here. And then we'll also place out the Bones tribe. So the Bones tribe, we'll put him out right here. All right, so those guys, on a future turn, they can move and take different actions like that. We're holding the Fangs tribe back. Hopefully he can do an ambush on a future turn. So once each tribe has performed an action, in this case we're going to pass on the Fangs tribe, that concludes the Goblin player's turn. Next we have the Dragon. So the Dragon, they are trying to remove all these sloth cubes from these 3 different categories. 1 is by capturing treasures. 2 is by eating goblins. Every time they eat 2 goblins, they're able to remove one of these cubes. And then this category, it is revealing an event tile, or placing a dragon gem while there's already one on the map, or just kind of sitting still and not moving for a turn. So those are the 3 ways they can get these cubes. And when they do, they come down onto this wakefulness track, increasing their armor and increasing their spirit level, which is the number of cards that they are able to draw. So this is what the dragon does on their turn. They can move and use their powers. Moving, on their turn they can move 1 or 2 tiles in a straight line, and then they use their powers, which are their power cards. It's important to note that the dragon is underground for a majority of the game, and they can ignore walls and dark tiles, so they can just go anywhere. They're not restricted in their movement. But once they surface towards the end of the game and try to find the exit tile, they have to obey the walls. All right, so we have the Slumbering Dragon. He's going to go onto the board exactly where the knight is. So that's where he starts. Then he can go ahead and move 1 to 2 spaces for free. So let's see. I know it's good for him to eat up the goblins and reveal tiles. So let's say he goes 1, 2 spaces here. Okay, then we'll go ahead, take a look at our 3 power cards that we drew. The power cards, there are 3 total symbols: wings, claws, and flames, and we happen to draw 1 of each. We can then use those symbols to do various actions on our player board. Some require specific icons, specific combinations of icons, and some just require, for instance, 2 different icons, but it can be any, or 3 or 4. So what do we want to do? We have 1 of each. Remember, our goals are to gather treasure. There's no treasure on the map currently. eat goblins, there are some goblins, and reveal some tiles. So we probably want to focus on eating goblins and revealing tiles. We're in a good spot here to eat some goblins. So let's spend our claw. We can spend our claw to do this power. Roll the dragon die, and affected tiles where there are goblins scatter, and you eat the goblins equal to the scattered population. So let's see if we can get some goblins. Ooh, nice. So this affects the tiles immediately around the dragon. So it's it affects that tile, and then these two. So we actually get both. We scored a direct hit on both of the goblins. So these guys scatter. And what scattering means, it's described over here. You decrease your population by 2, return the tribe piece to the board, and discard the monster card. So if they had a monster, that would go away. So these guys lose their population because they lose 2 and they only had 2. Same with them, they both got eaten basically. They come back here, come back onto their board, and the dragon, he gets to eat a bunch of goblins. So you eat goblins equal to the scattered population. So both goblin tribes had 2, so he's going to get to eat 4 goblins, which is awesome. So you can only remove 1 cube from each of the 3 zones on your turn. So we get to eat 2 goblins this turn, and we'll move that down and take one of these cubes and put it here. So we're still at 1 armor and 3 spirit, but we're getting closer to the next level. So the dragon, as he wakes up, he gets more strong, his armor goes up, and he can also draw more cards, allowing him to take additional actions. All right, cool. So that was really good for us. A little unfortunate for the goblins. Okay, so we still have a wing and a flame card. What do we want to do with these? Remember, we want to gather treasure. That's not going to happen this turn. We want to reveal an event tile. So we can reveal event tiles by using our flame. We can roll the die and reveal affected dark tiles. And we can also use the wing to move up to 2 spaces. We're still in a pretty good spot to reveal dark tiles, so I think maybe we'll just sit tight and use our flame. So we'll spend the flame, roll the die to reveal dark tiles. So let's see. Let's take a look out on the board. Did we hit any? We did. These corner spots, that one and that one. So those are revealed. So we'll go ahead and flip that over. Remember, we have to align it so that it opens up. We wouldn't be able to put this here, for instance, because of the wall. So that's revealed. And this is also revealed. So an ambush tile like this, revealed in this way, no longer has an effect. It's only if the knight reveals an ambush tile. But this one, it has a treasure chest. So the cave player will go ahead and place a treasure chest icon there. Okay. Unfortunately for the dragon, he did not reveal an event tile. Remember, the event tiles are the ones that have that little swirly symbol. So he does not get to remove a sloth cube for that. All right, so we still have a wing left to spend. What do we want to do with the wing? We can move up to 2 tiles in a straight line or move 1 tile through a wall. Maybe we'll go, we want to kind of stay away from that knight. So maybe we just go here. Remember, the dragon's underground, so he can ignore movement rules and just go onto dark tiles, go through walls, etc. So he's going to end his turn there. All right, and that is the dragon's turn. So those were his 3 power cards. One last thing he can do. He can place a dragon gem. So we have these 3 dragon gems here. You can see they're associated with the 3 different icons: flame, wings, and claw. And you can just go ahead and place those down, one of them down on your turn, the tile that you end on. So I think maybe we're going to want more flames to reveal tiles. So let's go ahead and put this dragon gem here. it creates an interesting incentive for the other players, because the knight, if she successfully captures this gem, she's able to I believe gain grit or lose grit depending on what she rolls on the die, and the goblin can also gain it for a benefit. So it's something that the other players are gonna want to go for, and also just to get it off the board, because it's a symbol that the dragon can spend on their turn, along with their power cards. So then the dragon goes ahead and draws 3 more cards, and that is the end of the dragon's turn. Moving on, we have the cave. All right, the cave is very interesting. They can do a lot of unique kind of manipulation of the board. They have the most control, and in a lot of ways kind of act as a dungeon master in the way that they control the players and control the game state. So on the cave's turn, they get to first collect omen tokens. Omen tokens are collected based on the number of treasure troves and crystal tokens on the board, and currently there is 1, right? Because we remember there was 1 treasure icon out there. So there you go, a treasure chest. So there's 1 out there, so they get to draw 2 omen tokens from this bag. So let's see what they get. Put them in our pool over here. Oh, so we got 2 of the same token, and that allows us to do a variety of different abilities. The cave can use one of these 3 icons to use the giant bats to move a treasure, the knight, or the goblin around the board. Put out a rock slide with 2 omens of one of these shapes, and there's one of the rock walls there that they would be able to put up. They can just place additional treasures out, which boosts their omen draw. They can use the soporific spores. It requires 3 omens. It's a little expensive, and it specifically targets players to make the knight lose grit, the goblin to reduce his population, and the dragon to remove sloth cubes. This one allows the cave to place a tile, or during the collapse, remove a tile, which is basically the opposite effect. So it basically hastens the end game and helps out the cave. The crystal curse allows the cave to rotate a tile, thereby exposing hopefully another edge and allowing another tile to be drawn. So how does the cave want to spend these? He can also decide to hang on to them for a future turn. He doesn't have to spend any of them right now. So let's see what he wants to do. Let's say, so he doesn't have the symbols to do any of these. He has to do 1 down here, or none really. Maybe we'll say he spends 1, and he can place a tile. Basically that's what he would use it for, placing 1 tile, okay? So here's his hand of 3. What does he want to do? Let's place this. And we'll put it right here. All right. Oh yeah, draw back up to 3. Okay. And then, so we've collected our omen tokens, we spent what we wanted to. We shaped the cave. Shaping the cave means we put 1 tile out. If we happen to have a crystal, we have to place it. So we're gonna go ahead and place a crystal right out here. All right. We want to kind of keep those towards the edge so that when we're in the collapse stage, we can get to those crystals as quickly as possible, because the crystals are what enable us to collapse the cave. Because to win, we have to first place all the cave tiles, so that entire stack, this entire stack over here, these guys have fallen. This entire stack needs to be depleted and out on the board. And then in order to win, after that's out, the collapse phase begins, and they have to destroy cave tiles until 5 crystal tiles have been collapsed. So ideally those crystal tiles are out towards the edges and easy to find and collapse for the cave. All right, finally, we place 1 treasure token. So this can go anywhere out on the board. And we want to use this, we don't want to put it too close to the other players because they benefit from having these, from gaining these. And we want it to provide an incentive for the players to reveal more tiles and hastening the end game. So we'll put it out here. And that is the end of the cave player's turn. He'll continue to draw more of these tokens in the future and have a lot of different ways to manipulate and affect the other players throughout the game. So that is kind of a sample, a little first turn for Vast, the Crystal Caverns. Hope you guys enjoyed that and that was helpful.